I'm sure that everyone has heard about fraternities and sororities over the years, growing up in high school or going into college. And most people thought about joining them. Most people just heard about them, didn't know much about what they were about. And I'm one of those people who, always heard about them but never really got the gist of it. So we're just going to talk about a few of those today. Specifically, I'm going to think about sororities. Sororities and frats, they came about in the mid 19th century, with the first sorority being the Aldefian Society, also known as Alpha Delta Phi, in 1851. Um, they were formed for women to debate about current events or about any more educational needs that they thought about in the real world rather than what they can learn in a classroom. So that may be, how to manage your money, what about economics, because a lot of times people don't learn like the basic life needs in the classroom and may have to learn outside of the classroom. So that's what these groups were formed for. Also, they wanted to, become more like a sisterhood once they started having these organizations and creating parties and events to be around each other. They became more like relationships, they grew bonds, they became a sisterhood. So they would have, events to support themselves in different groups. And eventually they, developed into, wanting to live with each other, but they didn't have the funds. But once they had some alumni that were part of those programs, they donated money to them so they can eventually have a chapter house. And the first chapter house was in the 1890s. For them, that symbolized that they had a change in the organization. The priority was more significant, and it just meant that they were moving forward, they were growing, they were being better. Usually when they do that, it means, more things have to be incorporated. So they started having traditions like rushing, which is basically recruiting more people. The bigger they got, the more people they needed to keep the housing and the funds and everything under control, have someone control that. And then also, what we know fraternities as is like hazing, hazing ritual, which is kind of like a negative term, but it's really just, them losing track of what they originally knew, like, in recruiting people into their programs. Another tradition would be like frats allowing their sweethearts to wear their letters, which is probably a big step in a relationship. Someone who dedicates their life to a specific organization, they're giving it to their girlfriend or their wife or whomever that they like, and giving them their letters, meaning, this is important to me. This is how important you are to me, and I want to combine that. So I feel like that was really sweet. Also, they, started to develop into like Greek letter. Later on down the years, everyone has a different organization for a different kind. They have different colors, they have different symbols that represent them. They do different things like branding or anything like that. So I feel like that was really interesting to learn about, and that was all I had. Thank you.